Just visit the new CalgaryHerald.com with more of everything worth knowing.
The defensive line clearly is going to be the focus tonight, I think. That's a position that the Stamps reworked in the offseason. They released Howard Hodges. They didn't re-sign Eddie Freeman. Of course, Charleston Hughes goes to the NFL. So 3 openings on the defensive line. That's really going to be the focus tonight, to see what kind of guys get rotation at that position.
What does that mean on the offensive side of the ball? Are we going to see much of Henry Burris, or is this the rookies get a chance to?
Maybe a quarter of Henry. I mean, he's a proven commodity, obviously. There's no question that we know what he can do. Clearly the battle of quarterbacking is for the number 3 spot behind Henry and Barrick Neely. You got Matt DeRazio, who's a veteran, played in the Arena League, won some championships down there, and then Drew Tate, who is the young guy. And then it comes down to a matter of philosophy. Do the Stamps want to develop a guy like Drew Tate, or do they want a solid, experienced guy? Because Barrick Neely, as we know, still isn't that experienced either. So it's good to have, I think, 2 guys who can have some experience like Henry Burris and a Matt DeRazio, but still it's going to come down to philosophy, and really, let's face facts, it's going to come down to what they do in a game situation.
Has there been anything in training camp that has surprised you or not surprised you?
Surprising, not so much. I mean, we knew this is a very polished offense when all of them are healthy. They've got some injury situations on offense, but still, it's like we keep saying, it's a proven commodity. We're going to have 11 of the 12 starters back, assuming everybody's healthy. So from that perspective, not really a surprise. I think the surprise has been just how competitive it has been on the defensive line. Not so much a surprise, because we knew they were going to bring some good free agents in, but guys like Malik Jackson, Tom Johnson, Justin Brown, Odell Willis, all those guys have really kind of risen to the challenge that's been thrown down to them by the Stampeder coaching staff. Brandon Brown.
What about him?
Well, that's a guy I think that mentally the Stamps had given up on last year. He was headed to the NFL. Everybody kind of assumed that. And he broke his ankle in the West Final last year and still managed to play through that in the Grey Cup. But that's the best cornerback in the CFL. And to see him back on the field, first of all, tells you that the Stamps probably caught a bit of a break, literally, in terms of his ankle, but also that this is a team that he wanted to come back to if nothing worked out in the NFL. He's got a chance to make history in the sense that very few teams can repeat as Grey Cup champions, and to do it on home turf here in Calgary, in a city that's become very special to him. I think that's a feel-good story of this team, that Brandon Browner is back and doing so well.
Last year they were not defending champs. This year they are. Have you seen that a change in attitude? I know Huffnagle was very quick to point out nothing has changed, but they're now the guys to knock off.
And you know, it's not something they like to talk about, obviously. You mentioned that Grey Cup word and they'll immediately kind of brush it off like that's ancient history and they don't want to talk about it anymore. They're looking forward. But you know, the fact is they've got T-shirts around the camp that say, are we up to the challenge? And then on the back of them there's a bullseye with a Stampeder logo. And that's a pretty accurate thing. This team is going to be in the targets, in the sights of every other team in the CFL. Every time the Stampeders play a regular season game, the other team is going to be bringing their best game because they want to knock off the champions. That's got to be what the focus of these guys is on this year, is that there's not going to be any freebies, no gimmies, no tap-in putts. They're going to have to bring their A game to every single game.